Florida man bitten by gator, then shot by cops. And what feels like a true ultimate Florida man headline. 42-year-old Timothy Schultz died after being capped by deputies just after surviving an alligator attack. You just want to add insult to injury, right? The guy gets bit by a gator, then gets shot by cops. But it's not like it's there's a story here. So the chaos began unfolding early in the morning when Schultz was reported to be acting erratically at a convenience store, sweating profusely and asking to call his son. Deputies were dispatched to the location, but couldn't find him at the time. Then, a little bit later, he was spotted swimming in a lake that is known to be inhabited by alligators. And if you know anything about Florida, gators are kind of everywhere, right? Like, not a year goes by where I don't read a story about a woman walking her dog alongside a creek or a lake or a river or whatever body of water in Florida. And then a gator comes out, tries to grab the dog. She goes to save the dog. And then the gator's all like, haha, that was bait. And then gets the woman, kills the woman, dog lives. Which just further backs up my point that dogs kill more people than they save. That's my theory. Get a cat. They keep to themselves. They're low maintenance. All right. That's my PSA for pet ownership on that one. But this guy's out there. He's swimming around in a lake known to be inhabited by gators. Then witnessed, well, they saw some shit. They watched in horror as Schultz was swimming and a gator swims up to him and bites him on the arm. Now, despite bleeding, Schultz refused any help from anybody. He gets out of the water. Everyone's horrified. Oh my God, dude, how are you doing? What is happening? And he's just like, this is a flesh wound. Totally doesn't want anyone's assistance. Are we starting to kind of put together the whole thing here that maybe, just maybe this guy might be on a little bit of the, you know what I mean? A little bit of the methamphetamines, or maybe bath salts, or something that you can get pretty readily at any convenience store in Florida. Now, he growled at them. He ignored anyone offering life preservers, anything. He didn't care. He just wanted to do his own thing. He pulled himself out of the lake. He then stumbled into a nearby neighborhood, and for some reason, in his very, very confused state, decided to grab a pair of garden shears and then break into a car by trying to hurl a brick at it. At this point, the cops, who had been looking for Schultz, they decided to show up. And when they arrived, it escalated because he charged at the cops with the shears. So the cops, which are usually under fire for resorting to using their guns far too often and far too quickly, they actually tased this dude twice. They shot him twice with tasers. No effect. None. So then Schultz escalated the situation even further by running climbing onto a running patrol vehicle and then attempting to reach for the firearms stored inside. And it was at this point the deputies kind of had no choice but to respond with lethal force. And they shot him multiple times. All right. So the thing you have to remember about when cops open fire, and you'll hear this in some reports, I don't have that information here, but you'll hear about it in some reports where the authorities will fire 125 rounds or something. And people are like, oh my God, how can they shoot so many rounds? Cops are trained to continue to put down fire until the subject is down. And they will just unload magazine after magazine after magazine until the subject is down. That is what they're trained to do. They're not trained to wound. They're not trained to incapacitate. They tried with the taser. It didn't work. They had to, they had no choice, unfortunately. It sucks that this guy's just having a hell of a day. But why would you charge at cops with garden shears? You're just, at that point, you're asking to just be killed. Now, here's the thing. When the cops ran the guy's name and they found out who he was, he had actually been released from jail less than a week prior on meth charges. So now we can pretty much kind of guarantee what he was on. We can figure that out. We know where things are going. And the Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd believes that meth played a role in his extreme behavior and stamina, calling the event outrageous and crazy. Yeah, it's pretty. Well, I'm going to go on a limb. I live in Washington. I live in the forests of Washington. I'm away from all of the craziness from Florida. But when you've got a Florida man high on meth, surviving a gator attack and then being killed by the police moments later, that is not an outrageous and crazy situation. That's a fucking Tuesday for Florida. I think we all can agree it's a Tuesday for Florida. Like, it's nothing about that is any different. But unfortunately, Thomas Schultz, I'm not laughing at the fact that I'm laughing at the circumstances. I feel bad that the guy died. I feel, because meth is a hell of a drug, right? Meth is terrible. I feel bad that this guy died, but it's at the same time, it's all like, I could just imagine that scene playing out in Grand Theft Auto 6, or, down the road when AI gets to be as proficient and I actually decide to do something more high tech with this podcast, I might sit there and start recreating these little snippets, these little stories with AI to give you guys an idea. Chinese government does it, or is it maybe Taiwan? One of those countries will do. China has AI news anchors, but one of those countries will have like AI video recreations of events. It's pretty wild. But hey, we're getting there with VO3, so you never know. All right, so I'm sorry. Oh man, that's that's death. Let's now talk about birth.